Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Shampriti and I hope you all are doing fine. And you must be very confused looking at the title of this video. Paradise Lost in 10 minutes? Oh my god, an epic poem like Paradise Lost by Milton, which has over 10,000 lines, can be summarized in 10 minutes? Yes, it can be. When we are focusing on the most important parts of the poem, and if you want to take a go to glimpse at this poem, I got you covered. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the poem. I hope you can see the slides. Paradise Lost. We all know that it was composed in 1667 and it has two books. Okay, first book was composed in 1667 and the second book was composed in 1674. So two more parts were added to the first book. Book 11 and book 12 were added. So it is a poetic rework of the book of Genesis, and the first two sentences are 26 lines. The whole poem is written in blank verse, and this masterpiece was followed by Paradise Regained in 1671. In the same year, Samsung Agnostis by Milton was also published. Now going to book 1. Book 1 opens in hell. And here, Milton coins the word pandemonium, which is the capital of hell, and literally it means all demons. Multiple times, questions have been asked from this. This word, pandemonium, is very important. The bad angels are fallen into the dark pit of hell, which is expressed as bottomless perdition, with the curse of God. God cursed the bad angels, and they were fallen into the dark pit of hell. And mind is here expressed as something, a substance that creates heaven of hell and hell of heaven. So I have gathered informations from previous year's papers, and I have tried to put all these important informations in this video. It is not a detailed discussion of each book, but it is an overall compact, important information from all the 12 books. Satan here says one of the most important lines of the book, that is of the poem, that is, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. And this has become almost a proverb that we use often in our daily endeavors. The book ends in the scene of Pandemonium, which we have already discussed. That is the capital of hell. So it opens in hell and it closes in hell also. And one of the most important things is that Urania, the Greek muse of astronomy, is invoked in here. Book 2, we have 4 angels: Belial, who suggests not to trick God; Mammon, who disagrees with Belial; Moloch, and Beelzebub. Beelzebub suggests that the best way to attack God is to attack his creation, that is the Garden of Eden. And here Saturn's entry to Earth is planned, and Saturn's 2 offspring are seen here: sin and death. So there are times when questions have been asked that in which book of Paradise Lost does Saturn meet sin and death? That is book 2. Satan also meets chaos and darkness before going to earth. So, sin and death and chaos and darkness, these are the 4 characters that are introduced, and Satan meets them before going to earth. In book 3, again the invocation of muse comes. So the first invocation of muse is appeared in book 1, where Milton invokes Urania, and in book 3 again muse is invoked, and the muse over here is holy light, and that is directly connected to Milton's gradual blindness. This book describes God and his son, and in this book there is a first mention of the tree of knowledge, from which Eve eats the fruit. That mention of that tree of knowledge is first we can see the mention of that in book 3. Satan, in the disguise of cherub, lands from hell on earth, and he can see the heaven's gate from here. You have to read the books like a visual sort of representation of the book in front of you. I'm giving you the most important information, and you have to decorate it and write it in a certain way, in a very graphical way, with colored highlighters, I would say. The way I made my own notes, I will show you how I made my notes. And that is how you have to make the notes. This is a very brief kind of accumulation of most important things from each book. Here in book 3, Uriel, an angel, is strict, the good angel, and he tells Satan the way to get into earth. So Satan actually is in disguise of cherub, and he tricks Uriel into believing that he is a good person, and it is this way that Satan gets away into the earth. In book 4, Satan takes the form of a toad. He has already come into the space. Here begins the fall of man, part 1. So the fall of man starts in book 4. Okay, the rest is continued in book 9. Book 9 also talks about the fall of man. So in book 4 and in book 9, fall of man is discussed. Uriel tells Gabriel about a fallen angel, and they catch Satan. Therefore, he is thrown out of Garden of Eden. The first time he was thrown as a bad angel who disagreed with God, but then he entered into earth again without tricking Uriel. He went into earth, into the gate of heaven, and again he is thrown out of the Garden of Eden. Again, here is the invocation of Urania as a muse after her invocation in book 1. So there are questions like that come many times. That is, where, in which books is Urania invoked? That is book 1 and book 4. Book 5 opens in the Garden of Eden, where Eve is telling Adam about her dream, and God sends Raphael to warn Adam and Eve. Raphael tells Adam the story of the great war between the bad and the good angels, and thereby he narrates the whole story that was followed by the sin in book 1. And here we find the mention of angel Abdiel, who betrayed God at first. He was a bad angel, supposed to be the bad angel, but then he apologized and was taken into heaven again. In book 6, the story of the great war that lasted 3 days continues. The story that started in book 1 is continued in book 5 and book 6. So you need to understand in which book, which major incidents are happening. Michael and Satan began to fight, both of them glorious and powerful like two planets colliding, until Michael struck Satan with his sword, which was specially tempered by God himself. The sword sheared off Satan's entire right side, so that he knew the horror of pain for the first time. So Michael and Satan's fight is taking place in book 6. Satan blade nectarous humor. Okay, very important expression. Book 7 is story of creation, and Raphael tells the story, and Adam also tells his own story, how Eve was made from his rib and stuff like that. In book 8, when Raphael stops telling the story about creation, Adam starts telling his own story, and Raphael warns Adam and Eve, because God already knew that Satan is going to come and he is going to tempt Eve and stuff like that. God knew everything, but he informed Raphael, and Raphael warns Adam and Eve about these things, that this may happen. He gives hints about the misfortune that is going to follow. Adam's key flaw was there. This was asked in UGC NET, most probably 2020. What was Adam's key flaw? It was a passion for Eve. That was Adam's key flaw. In book 9, which is the longest book, Satan circles 7 times. Satan circles the earth 7 times. He goes through Tigris River. Satan reappears in Eden, now as a serpent. So first as a toad, now as a serpent. He finds Eve alone, tempts her. Eve eats the fruit. Adam does that too. And that was the time when they experienced lust and shame and marital quarrel takes place. And story of the fall of man after book 7 also continues in here in book 9. In book 10, Adam or Eve to be fallen, sin and death meet Satan, congratulating him for succeeding in his mission, and they promise that they will infect the earth. Sin and death, that we already know that they have struck the earth after the fall of man. Satan goes back down to hell, and the devils have all been transformed into snakes along with Satan. Okay, so a grove of trees appears in hell with fruit that turns to ashes as soon as the snakes try to bite it. So the very negative energy is portrayed in here. Eve here is told that through you sorrow will be multiplied with each baby you produce. And Adam is told that you have committed the sin, and now you have to earn bread with toil. Nothing is going to be in front of you with ease. You have to earn that. Violent miseries like storms, flood, and change of seasons, every hazard strikes the earth. Book 11 shows how Adam and Eve pray for forgiveness, and God hears their prayers. God commands Michael to be firm with Adam and Eve, but also just, he says that be kind with them because they have already apologized. It was supposed to be happened, it was supposed to happen, it was supposed to be there, but just be kind with them. And here it's very important. Michael shows Adam a vision of what will occur in humanity's future so as to lessen his despair. Michael then puts Eve into an enchanted sleep, and this is where Adam is laid up to a high hill to be shown about a vision of his descendants' future. This is the highest hill in paradise, and from it, Adam can see almost a whole hemisphere of the earth. In book 12, that is the last book of Paradise Lost, we have the descendants of Adam. We hear about the future. We hear the mention of Abraham, Moses, Joshua, David, Solomon. Michael confirms that the followers, that is the Christians, will be persecuted, but says that God will send down a comforter to protect them with spiritual spiritual weapons, spiritual kind of armor, and allow them to perform miracles. Michael leads Adam and Eve through the gate, and they exit paradise, and they cry a few tears and then walk hand in hand into a new world with a vision of hope, and with a vision, with a sense of shame, and with a sense of agony, but also the sense of hope and optimism. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had kind of a very simple and compact blueprint of the book, of the epic poem Paradise Lost. I will suggest you to read the poem. It is a fantastic, it is a marvelous, a beautiful poem, and refer to the slides, the notes that I have given you, and make your own notes, make your own researched notes, as I always say. So don't forget to like, share, and comment in this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.